I am officially done with the NBA. It's rigged. I've always had my conspiracy theories in the back of my mind where I've looked at games and I was like, shit, you know, if I wasn't crazy, I would think that that was a bogus call and that shit was fixed. Whether it be for point shaving purposes or whether it be to make upsets, you know, to actually, you know, for them to make more money. Listen, man, this shit is crazy, man. Tim Donaghy is actually saying that there were at least 13 other referees that was involved in this bullshit. And he was actually making wagers based off of personal grudges that referees had with certain players. You know, he talked about them making jokes and bets before the game on who could call the first technical foul on Rasheed Wallace. Like, this shit is crazy. And then David Stern says, no, well, you know, he's just a rogue guy. Listen. For me to believe that he's the only one, like, I've always believed motherfuckers do shit like that anyways. Like, I've always believed, you know, umpires and baseball games and, you know, whatever, that they bet on games. I mean, come on, man. If you have the ability to control the outcome of a game or manipulate the point spread, come on. I mean, what the fuck? And you got to know that there's players that know that they, you know, that it's over for them once they step into the arena. You know what I'm saying? It got to be pitchers that when they see that a certain umpire is going to be calling the game and they have an issue with him for whatever reason, that they're like, oh, shit, it's going to be one of them damn ice in the motherfucking strike zone. You know what I'm saying? They know the strike zone going to be this motherfucking small. They already know. You know? I mean, it's like Allen Iverson was telling Tim Donaghy, yo, man, just be fair, man. Like, because he was getting to the point where he knew, and even they was playing a clip where the commentator was saying, hey, you know, wow, Allen Iverson's getting banged up and Tim Donaghy just won't call a foul. Like, even a commentator was like what the fuck? You know? I mean, you know, the shit just kills me. So now, when I look back up on it, and I look at, I think the referee's name was Joe Crawford, how he had a issue with Tim Duncan. And I remember Tim Duncan, I remember they had to actually make sure that that guy didn't referee any more of his games because it was so obvious, because he would always tee him up. But I remember the issue where Tim Duncan, he had got like a, you know, a bullshit foul called against him, and then all of a sudden the next time he was like, and you know, fucking Joe Crawford just came and teched him up and threw him out the game, and you know, it was a big thing because Tim Duncan was like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, because it was a real big deal. But the point is that it started when Tim Donaghy just really started breaking shit down as of late. I know he could be embellishing certain things because he got a book out. I understand. But for me to for me to think that everything he's saying, just because a guy's a criminal doesn't mean that everything he's saying is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And just because he's exposing things doesn't mean that everything that he's saying is completely accurate. But now that this shit is coming out, I mean, I just really feel bad for the athletes, especially Allen Iverson, who's had to bounce around on different teams. I mean, he admitted that referees had a personal vendetta against him, that he criticized refs. He was only fined 25 G's. So he was like, yo, we had it in for him. You know, so we was going to get him. So he was making his wagers based off of who was refereeing those games and which referees had a personal vendetta against him. He said he was 70 to 80% banking. You know what I'm saying? Winning. 80% of the time. That's just crazy. Listen, I know what it's like for a referee to have a personal vendetta against you. I never experienced none of that bullshit when I was playing college ball, none of that shit. But when I went overseas, when I was in Europe, I was actually in Germany. And I remember I was playing against the team, Karlsruhe. And I never forget it, man. And I'm over there, and, you know, I wanted to play well, you know, because the Queen's sister was in the audience and everything. You know, she had flew over. So it was a big deal for me. And it just so happened that one of the referees was like an ex-Nazi or whatever. So I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But what happened was he had called like a bullshit. It was an early foul. It was bullshit at the very beginning of the game. And I was like, damn, like, this is crazy. So he actually came to me, he said, one more thing out of you, you're out the game. And I was like, what the fuck was that? So I went there. George, my coach got me out the game. George took me out, he sat me on the bench. He was like, yo, see, sometimes it's going to be like this. It's crazy, but some people haven't left out of that era. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on up in this room? I'm like, shit. So He sat me down for a little bit. He put me back in the game. Keep in mind, this shit was early. Put me back in the game. Somebody else had got a foul call. It was obvious, you know, because you can only have one American per team at the time. So I was the only brother over there. You know, the other team, obviously, you know, they didn't even have a brother on that team. So it was obvious what was going on. Everybody knew what was going on. So, it was a bullshit foul that was called, and I was like, that's all I did. I was just like, he made sure he found me. He got in my face. He put the whistle. He was like, he blew it as hard as he fucking could in my ear. He was like, out the game. I was like, are you fucking? I couldn't believe it. So my coach came and grabbed me. He was like, he sat me down because they knew that I could be actually thrown out the league if shit just got, you know, way too serious. So at the end of the game, I just didn't give a damn because I just knew he abused his authority. And I fucking got in his face. I cussed his ass out, motherfucker, this, that. Because that was just the way I felt. I just couldn't believe it. At that point, I kind of didn't care what happened to me as far as, you know, not being able to play over in Europe anymore. I was just that heated. So I know what it's like for a referee to abuse his authority. And then to make matters worse, after the game, I guess the Federation just happened to be in the audience that game. They couldn't control him, you know, with his bullshit calls, but they made sure that they round up our whole team and, you know, and sent us into the bathroom and watched us piss, you know, for the fucking drug test. Like, out of all the games. So that was a scandal within itself because 2 motherfuckers got caught up. So that shit was crazy too. But if they had known better, they should have put the shit down in their shorts, because our shorts did have a pocket so that you could actually put an agent on your index finger and urinate on it so that you could have passed the test. But the point is that day they didn't have it, so that was their bad. For it to be actually brought to the forefront that referees have a personal vendetta against athletes, that alone, beyond the gambling issue, that does not make the game fair. The NBA is the most easily manipulated game out there. Where referees in football is probably the most difficult, even though things are discretionary, but it's probably the most difficult because you got other refs that can step in and say, whoa, 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 let me check you, bro. That, you know, hey, you know, that I didn't see that. You know, that shit didn't look right to me. That was probably your call, but that shit didn't look, you know, it didn't look right to me. But the reason why that's such a huge gray area is because when it all comes down to it, the question is he really manipulating the game? Because his take is he's actually calling fouls, even though it's discretionary. He's calling fouls, but he could also make the judgment call to not call a foul because of his personal thing, whatever it is that he wants to do, whether he likes the person or dislikes the person. So his whole spin on it to justify the whole thing is that A, he's not actually fixing the games, he's only manipulating them. That's the justification, because he's not controlling the full outcome, just the point spread. And that's what most point shavers' justification is. But he's saying, hey, it's a judgment call. I'm calling a foul. Is there anything wrong with that? That's my job. And on another hand, it's like, I'm not calling a foul. That's my job. This is my judgment call, whether I should call it or not. So he's slick in the fact that he's kind of making it seem as though, hey, I really ain't done nothing wrong. You see? But the point is that now that it's been exposed that referees have personal vendettas, which we all kind of knew anyways, but now that it's out there, now that totally destroys the game. I'm totally done with the NBA. Now that I know that it's just completely rigged, I just won't watch it maybe into the finals, and now I just really just concentrate on college, because now the NBA is just too far gone. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?